Hi, everybody. Thanks.
Oh, that's a good start.
We've only just begun. Welcome, bienvenue, thank you for coming. We are here today to have a hard-working conversation on the topic of play and why play is important, critical for us as individuals and critical for us as society. We've even pulled together a little equation that is the construct of our conversation today, and it is this: how the world's most inclusive toy company, spoiler alert, Mattel, and the most extraordinary, iconic, bold-faced name, soon-to-be major motion picture star doll. Do you know her name? Thank you. Right, exactly. How those two come together and create change. So first I'm going to do a couple of very quick introductions. First of myself. For those of you who don't know me, I am Gail Hyman. I'm the CEO of the Weber Shandwick Collective. We are the Earned First Collective network. I know there's thousands of marketers here at Cannes this week, perhaps in this room, and every single one of them wants to earn value. But we believe fervently at the Weber Shandwick Collective that to earn value, you've got to contribute value. And I know of no one who does it better, delivers it more consistently, and embodies that principle more than Richard Dixon. So I now have to go to my notes for more accolades about Richard before we proceed with the conversation. Richard, as you can see here, is the president and COO of Mattel and has been at the company for 23 years. Right, so far, right? Over that time, Richard has transformed the company by growing some of the world's most powerful and purpose-driven brands, and you know them, brands like Hot Wheels and Fisher-Price and American Girl, and one that we're here to discuss a little bit more, Barbie. And in 2022, I should note, Barbie was the #1 doll property globally, which is a huge achievement. Much of that can be credited to what is called the Mattel Playbook. And Richard developed that playbook for Mattel, and it has 4 pillars: brand purpose, design-led innovation, cultural relevance, which we're going to hit on today, and executional excellence. And that playbook and Richard's vision has been core to the success of Mattel. So Richard, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Am I live? Do you hear me?
I can hear you, but I don't know.
Now you hear me? All right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that introduction. It sounds much more, obviously, gravitas than I would imagine. But thank you. And thank you for coming today.
Lots of gravitas. All right, so we're going to do something that probably hasn't been done at Cannes yet, which is a PowerPoint pas de deux. And we're going to talk about some numbers, right? Okay, ready? Let's go to some numbers here. First number is, can you see it? 1945. So a few things happened in 1945. I'll mention a few. World War II ended in Europe. The United Nations was born, right? So those are
big.
Those are big things, right? The average house, this is just random facts. The average house in the United States cost $4,600, and a gallon of gas was 15 cents. And for real, trivia lovers, Henry Winkler was born in that year.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's wild. But, okay, for the purposes of this discussion, what happened with Mattel in that year?
So in that year, if you could see this picture behind these iconic figures, is a garage. And Mattel was born in a garage, much like the most innovative companies in the world today. We were born in Southern California in 1945, and a time, obviously, post-war, revolutionaries, incredible innovation, the Beach Boys, and all sorts of exciting, obviously, things were happening in the world. And our founders, Ruth and Elliot Handler, a married couple, started in this garage called Mattel Creations, which, of course, is the precursor to today's Mattel. And behind that garage was some of the most innovative, creative toys that we all enjoy today in terms of invention and innovation.
All right. Now we're fast forwarding a little bit. The year is 1959. There were some other major events. Fidel Castro came to power. Hawaii became the 50th state in the United States. Ben-Hur premiered. That was huge. Very, very big. And then just for, again, so little trivia, average house cost $12,400, and the average annual salary was $5,010.
Wow.
Wow, exactly. Okay,
incredible.
but what else? Okay, in the history of Mattel and Barbie, big.
Yeah, it was big. The company, as we just saw, the garage was in 1945, but years later, in 1959, Barbie was invented. And she was designed with the inspiration that Ruth, our founder, had when she watched her daughter, Barbara, play with paper dolls. And when she saw her daughter play with paper dolls, she imagined that there could be another form of play that would inspire her daughter to imagine a world of possibilities. And that's when she created the 11.5-inch world's most famous doll called Barbie, to really inspire her daughter to imagine a world of possibilities. One other, I think, interesting fact is we listened to how much gas price was and how much people made back then. A Barbie doll cost back then $9.99.
Wow.
And I still think you could
That's
probably find a Barbie doll out there for $9.99.
Yeah.
So we've maintained, if not
So
held our value.
No Barbie inflation is what
No
you're
Barbie
saying.
inflation.
Very little. All right, we're gonna fast forward again, and this is a little bit of a different story. The year is 2015. It was a tough year for Barbie. There was in the zeitgeist headlines you can see here. So what was going on for Barbie, and what was going on in your head?
Yeah. Well, first of all, if you could read these headlines, the one that I would look the most at, and I don't like looking at it, although now it's easier, is when CNN Business had a headline news article that basically said, "Is Barbie dead?" So you can imagine if you were at Mattel at that time feeling the pressure that the world was looking at, both in our business, which was declining, and in people's love affair with Barbie, which was obviously waning. And the reason was because as we studied our consumer and moms and little girls, people didn't necessarily feel like Barbie related anymore to them. She didn't look like them. She didn't look like the world around them. They couldn't find themselves in the play pattern that was so synonymous and so famous for so long. So consumers essentially were turning away from Barbie, and we as the brand needed to really take a very, very hard look in the mirror and ask ourselves why and what were we going to do about it.
Right. So you took a hard look and you did some tough stuff, and then, you know, again, here now we're fast forwarding to the years 2021, and the headlines look different. So what happened that year?
Indeed. So we took our, insights and we dealt with the truth. And the truth was we moved from a monologue that we had to a dialogue. And we spoke to consumers, and they told us she needs to look and feel like the world around us. So we introduced 20 different new ethnicities and skin tones. And we didn't stop there. We then evolved to talk about her body, and then expanded the body collection to include choice, tall, petite, curvy, various different ways that we could show the beautiful shapes and beautiful images of the world around us.
So I think we can give everyone a sense here of the Barbie transformation. You can kind of see it before your eyes.
Here you can see many of the images that today reflect who is Barbie and what is Barbie, and really Barbie is a mirror image of our world. And that's what makes her so exciting and so relevant and ultimately so successful today. Thank you for that.
Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go into a few questions about play and sort of why this transformation. Why did you do it? And a lot of reasons, but one of the answers that I think is important is that play really matters, and doll play really matters. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions about sort of what's going on in the world, and I'm going to begin with science, okay? Research shows that doll play, more than other kinds of play, activates specific regions of the brain, you'll probably know which ones, that help children develop empathy and help social processing. So tell us a little bit about what you've seen in the research and why that's important.
Yeah, well, we've spent a lot of time studying when girls and boys, by the way, play with dolls and play with a system of dolls, what's actually happening. And we've worked with incredible academics around the world, Cardiff University in London and NYU in New York and Australian universities, and basically commissioned white papers to study what happens when kids play with dolls. And while there are an incredible amount of great attributes, unlocking imagination and other various triggers that actually stimulate the fantastic way the brain works about projecting your future and what you want to be through dolls, the most important attribute that kids learn when they play with dolls is empathy. And that really hung true to us as one of the world's most important play patterns, the fact that we actually can cultivate and educate empathy in a world that needs more empathy is an incredible gift. And so as we really get that message out there around the values of doll play, when kids play with dolls, they role play. And they actually develop relationship skill sets when they act out what happens in scenarios during role play, which ultimately leads to real play. And so the value of doll play, we think, is an incredibly important child development aspect in cognitive, emotional, and social well-being.
So, and you did this study that showed that, and I thought this stat was interesting, that 91% of parents think it's important for their children to be empathetic. So that's the majority, but only 26%, a quarter, are aware that doll play can help. So that's a big gap. So what, here we're all marketers. What are you doing about that gap, and what do you think we could do in the marketing world to talk more about doll play?
Well, I think, what we talk a lot about purpose with our brands and the recognition that not only do we have a very important purpose of inspiring girls' limitless potential, but now we know that the attributes of the play pattern develop specifically empathy, which when you look at the world today, again, one of the most important aspects of all of our lives is developing more empathy. And so we're trying to essentially educate the world around the value of doll play. And we're working with partners, of course, Weber Shandrick and various other partners around the world, communicating the value of that play pattern as part of child development and an important way that we can develop our kids and they can develop that skill set through play, which is the best part of learning, is when you're learning having fun. And so ultimately, we think we have a very meaningful place with the doll category. Yeah. And of course, Barbie is the leading doll in the doll category.
Okay, so more personal question. Complicated world. We talk about it a lot. Within Weber Shandrick. Here we are, this planet with 8 billion, close to 8 billion people huddled on it. This planet of endless complexity and crises. Not to make it sound too dire, but okay. The world had more empathy. What do you think would change?
I think, empathy is essentially the ability to appreciate one another's situations, the understanding of somebody else's circumstance, somebody else's challenges, and to be able to take the time to listen and learn and appreciate the value of those circumstances. And I think as you look at the world that we live in, if we just listened more and communicated more and had more empathy for the various different circumstances that we all are in, I think the world would be a much better place. And that's why we think, and we have a campaign called A Doll Could Change the World. And if we develop more empathy at the earliest stages of life, as kids develop into adults that have that empathy as a skill set, we'll be able to have more challenging conversations, agree to disagree, understand people's points of view, and at the earliest stage of development, if we can encourage that more, then the responsibility to do that lies upon us. And we believe at Mattel we've got great brands that can teach, educate, and develop the next generation to be more empathetic.
Okay, so doll play to change the world. All right, I want to go now and talk a little bit about inclusion and inclusion in toys and inclusion in dolls. So a lot has been said and written, and I think we all feel this, how toys are sort of our first understanding of the world, and they shape our understanding of the world. I'm going to read a quote from a psychologist. Her name is Amber Hewitt. She says, "An inclusive toy box can promote positive racial, ethnic, gender, and cultural identity development for children. A lack of representation in a child's toy box can send harmful messages, ranging from people who look like me don't matter to concerns that there aren't others who look like me." So how has Mattel addressed that with Barbie and beyond Barbie?
If you all, I think, got a Barbie doll, right? If you look at the back of the box and you just think about what we just talked about, this is the world we live in. And so if you imagine a toy box that included all of these different looks and the appreciation and the value of being able to play with all these different looks versus previously, which was one look, you start to really understand and appreciate the value of diversity in the toy box, the value of a little girl or little boy playing out the real world and understanding the dynamic of the real world as through these images. So it's incredibly important that we continue at Mattel to express the beautiful world we live in with 175 different Barbie dolls, different shapes, different sizes, different ethnicities, different disabilities and capabilities. This particular one, which I appreciate that they put up here, this is our most recent one, which is Down syndrome Barbie. The impact that a doll like this has for a Down syndrome girl who's now been seen, who can now see herself in a Barbie doll, to be able to be recognized is an incredible gift that we're giving and a gift that we're going to receive as well. So we've got a lot more coming, and we're really conscious about people who can now be seen and who can see in a Barbie world.
So you've been really intentional about this transformation, which is extraordinary, and you've created Barbies that spotlight role models that are hugely important to all children and all people. You've increased representation across the product line. What are parents telling you?
The feedback is only encouraging us to do more. You know, the incredible feedback that we get from around the world, and I'm talking about, I get letters, we get phone calls, we get video chats of this extraordinary emotional portrayal of what it meant to them. We just had a little chat over there, right? We had a chat about your history in the context of growing up without a Barbie that looked or felt like it looked like you. And today, that is now represented. That's the kind of encouragement that our team needs and gets, that only encourages us to do more, to represent more, and to touch more people's lives in a meaningful way.
Thanks. So, okay, we're on a beach with leading marketers of the world, thousands of them, and a few here. And everybody's wrestling with what we talked about, complicated world, being relevant to culture, or maybe shaping culture, and I think you do both. And you know, we've all heard what's going to be talked about most at Cannes. It's going to be AI, right? So that, you know, everyone said that was going to happen, and it has happened. So we're all wrestling with sort of harnessing the power of technology. So here you are with this extraordinary and incredibly successful and meaningful transformation. What advice do you have for everybody here who's in marketing?
What advice? Well, it is a very complicated world. You know, I think it's actually, from a trend perspective, described as permacrisis. And so it's heavy. And what we believe at Mattel and what I believe is, you know, we're all part of brands and trying to figure out how to reach consumers. And evolution keeps a brand relevant. But purpose makes a brand immortal. When you have a brand or a company that has a greater meaning than the product itself, it could sustain and maintain for generations. And nurturing and developing purpose as part of your being, as part of the work that we all do, particularly in today's world, is really meaningful, and it matters. At Mattel, we talk about ourselves, and we are mass marketers because we are global, we're the leading toy company in the world, but we're moving from mass marketing to mass mattering. And just that twist really starts to personify the importance of what we do in the world. And I think as you think about what you all do, it does matter. And making it matter more and driving purpose in your organization and personally is, I believe, the best advice that we can give.
Yeah, I like mass mattering, and I like brand immortality. Because, you know, we tend never to think immortal. We work off a 3-year plan. So it's,
That's
you
true.
know, that immortality is a big idea. All right, so in the promo for this session, we said we would talk about the movie. You know which movie, and it opens on in July 21 in the United States of America, and soon thereafter. And we said that we would tell you something you could never hear anywhere else, exclusive hot juice. Okay, but before we do that, we're going to show you a hot new trailer from the movie, which is called, appropriately, Barbie. Here she comes.
Hey, Barbie. Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
You
could find me under the lights, diamonds under my eyes.
This is the best day ever.
It is the best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever. Do you guys ever think about dying?
When my heart breaks,
Some things have been happening that might be related.
when my world shakes.
Cold shower, falling off my roof, and my heels are on the ground. What do I have to do?
You have to go.
To the real world.
You can go back to your regular life, or you can know the truth about the universe. The choice is now yours.
The first one, the high heel.
You have to want to know, okay? Do it again.
Closer I am find. Closer I am find.
I'm coming with you.
Okay. Wow, this is the real world. What's going on? Why are these men looking at me?
Yeah, they're also staring at me.
Barbie in the real world. That's impossible.
If this got out, this could mean extremely weird things for our world. This would be catastrophic!
We haven't played with Barbie since we were like 5 years old. Oh.
No one rests until this doll is back in a box.
Even if nobody else sings along.
Humans only have one ending.
Get that Barbie!
Ideas live forever.
No, I won't let you do just one appendectomy,
But I'm a man.
but not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
There he is. Doctor!
Somebody get security.
It's Barbie, if you're still in doubt.
Woo! Okay, nothing says brand immortality like that. But all right, here's the questions. Barbie, The Dream House, Greta Gerwig, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, Will Ferrell. What else can you tell us?
Oh my God. Well, first off, I hope you're all excited about the movie. I love it. It's been an incredible journey. This movie has been in the works for over 5 years. And we've been incredibly lucky to have Greta Gerwig directing. She co-wrote the film with Noah Baumbach. Of course, Margot Robbie playing Barbie. But I think what you'll see as you start to reveal more about the movie is while Margot is clearly iconic Barbie, what you'll soon realize is this is really a story about human truth. A big, bold comedy that's purposeful, that's about self-discovery, and about a really meaningful part of all of our lives played out through Barbie. And so we could not be more excited about this movie and more proud of the work. It does have a lot of self-deprecation in it. You'll see we poke a lot of fun at ourselves at Mattel. But we're really excited, and hopefully you'll all go and enjoy it and leave with not only a lot of fun memories and heart, but the purpose that you'll see throughout the movie about female empowerment and the world that we live in today. So lots of good messages in a fun and meaningful way.
Well, I am so there. And you listen, you've got to be a great brand to be self-deprecating, right? I mean, that's what you got to be. So I wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Richard, for all of us who played with Barbie and whose kids played with Barbie and who believe in the power of play. Thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being here. And now we have Barbiecore snacks, I believe, waiting right over there. So join us. We've got a few minutes. Join us for snacks and ask Richard more questions about the movie. Maybe he'll reveal something super secret.
All right. Well, thank you, Gail,
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank
Thanks,
you for
everybody.
coming. Take care. Bye.